Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolfe Pit with another episode of What Are We Eating? Thanks to German immigrant Charles Feltman for inventing, and Jewish immigrant Nathan Handwerker for popularizing the quintessential summertime food, hot dogs. They're cheap, tasty, great for grills, and forgiving for even the most inexperienced backyard cooks. Those two names may not sound familiar to most of you, but Nathan Handwerker's namesake, Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs, is probably familiar to most of you, which is the company he started from a hot dog push cart on Coney Island. Most of the time you find hot dogs in the refrigerated section of your grocery store. And then if you go on a picnic, you have to lug around a big bulky cooler to keep them cold and from spoiling in the brutal summertime heat. But fear no more about spoiling hot dogs or lugging around a big bulky cooler. Thanks to ye old oak American hot dogs in a can that need no refrigeration. At first, hot dogs in a can sounded really weird to me. It wasn't until I remembered Vienna sausages, or if you're from the South like I am, you call them Vienna weenies, which come in a can, so it's not really that weird. So I got this 300-gram can of ye old oak American hot dogs to try from Amazon for the low price of $17.48. That works out to be $2.98 a wiener. Now that's a pricey wiener. Of course, the majority of the $17.48 is for shipping from across the pond. They probably really only cost a couple dollars a can. So can someone from the UK tell me how much these really cost in the UK? But to me, the extra price is worth it. So I can try them for you, the people, so you don't have to. They suggest you serve these American hot dogs on crispy baguettes or soft rolls with ketchup or mustard. Now stop right there. Any self-respecting hot dog aficionado knows that ketchup doesn't belong on a hot dog. That is unless you're 3 years old. Then and only then is ketchup on a hot dog acceptable. But hey, who am I to tell you how to enjoy a plump, juicy wiener? It's your wiener, you enjoy it how you like it. They also say for a legendary American-style hot dog to add relish and fried onions. Now for the ingredients. And all hot dog credibility is lost when I see the first ingredient is chicken. Chicken doesn't belong in a hot dog in my opinion. And my wife buys dirt cheap chicken hot dogs all the time, which is why my divorce lawyer is on speed dial. I'd rather eat Nutriloaf than a chicken hot dog. But against my better judgment, I'll proceed with ye old oak's American-style hot dogs and give them a try anyway, for you, the people, so you don't have to. There's 6 hot dogs per can, and each hot dog contains 72 calories, 4.3 grams of total fat, 1.3 grams of saturated fat, 3.1 grams of carbohydrates, 2 grams of sugars, 5.4 grams of protein, 1.18 grams of salt, which is equivalent to 472 milligrams of sodium for everyone here in the US, which is how our products list them, by sodium and not salt. If you have any allergies, you might want to read this. They do have a good long shelf life, so they make for a real good food storage item right next to your cheeseburger in a can. And they'd be especially good for a zombie apocalypse picnic. You can heat these up in the microwave or saucepan. It said to pour the contents with the brine into a saucepan and heat for 5 minutes. So the weenies went into the pan with the brine. And they look just like regular cheap chicken hot dogs. Now I have the heat on medium high, and once it comes to a simmer, they need to cook for 5 minutes. And if you don't want to wait 5 minutes, go ahead and stick them in the microwave. After 5 minutes, our hot dogs are heated through. Once I remove the tube steaks, I drain the hot dog flavored water.
Ah! Boogeyman!
But then I decided to pan fry a few of them to see how they turn out, which is how I'd cook them at home. That is, if I didn't grill them. The skillet was still on medium-high heat, and I added a little bit of oil and threw the dogs in. Then I let them fry for a few minutes, rolling around every minute or so. Then continue to roll them around until they're to your perfect brownification. Now all the hot dogs are done, and they're ready to try. The ones on the right are obviously the fried ones, and the ones on the left are the boiled ones. And like I said before, they look like typical cheap hot dogs. So I shake the boiled weenie first to give it a try. As soon as I bit into it, I realized this isn't like any hot dog I've ever had. This felt like no other weenie I've had in my mouth before. but the taste and texture did remind me of something I've had before, a Vienna sausage. I'm not the biggest fan of hot dogs or Vienna sausages to begin with, but I do happen to have an unstoppable craving for them from time to time. And when I want a hot dog, I want it to taste like a hot dog. And when I want a Vienna weenie, I want it to taste like a Vienna weenie. So next I tried a fried hot dog in hopes that the perfectly brownified and slightly crispified skin would help disguise the taste and the texture. And it did slightly help with the flavor, but somehow it made the inside texture worse. So on their own, I didn't like them at all. So I decided to try them with some buns, along with a healthy dose of the mandatory yellow mustard. I tried the Bulldog first, and visually, it looks just like a regular hot dog. The bun did help disguise the texture, and the mustard added some much needed flavor. But they were still definitely on the bland side. Next was the pan-fried tube steak on the bun with the mustard. Pan frying did add a little bit of flavor, and that along with the mustard and the bun made it somewhat edible. A little chopped onion and relish would really help hide that texture and make them a little bit better. Overall, these ye old oak American hot dogs in a can were just not very good at all, and weren't even as good as the cheap gross chicken hot dogs my wife likes. They were bland, which is better than gross. But the texture is what really didn't work for me, which is why I'm going to give them a score of 2 out of 10, and I wouldn't get these again, and I wouldn't really suggest you get them either. But in the event of a zombie apocalypse, they may come in handy. At least if you don't like the hot dogs, you can throw the can at the zombies. If you'd like to help support the Wolf Pit, consider being a patron. You can pledge as little as $1 a month. That's only $12 for the whole year. Or you can pledge more. That's up to you. Either way, every little bit's appreciated and helps me produce more high-quality videos more often for you, the people. Thank you all very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.